live.
Greetings, I am Rock Newman, and this is a version of the Rock Newman Show 2.0. Recently, I was discussing a myriad of things with Nathaniel Jordan, the Minister of Wellness, who is, I don't even call Nate a guest anymore. He's just a part of the team and a regular. Nathaniel Jordan, the Minister of Wellness. And he brought up some of his research and study of medical racism. Now, I've heard that term, but beyond reading a headline or maybe a story here and there, I haven't paid much attention to it. But Nate started to illuminate some of the challenges, some of the issues that our community should be aware of. And as he did so, I was like, man, we need to tell our viewers to make sure our viewers get the kind of information that you are sharing with me now about medical racism.
Yes.
Because Nate's mission and my effort to support his mission has been about getting our community in better health, eradicating some of the diseases that proliferate throughout our community, and to save lives. And when I say to save lives, that is not a hyperbole.
Right.
Some of the things that we are doing, some of the messages that Nate delivers, if we heed them, if we pay attention, we could save our lives. We could increase our health and save our lives. Today's show is focusing on something quite, I don't like to keep using the word diabolical, but it's a tragedy what happens when we talk about the rate of childbirth that a black woman has versus what a white woman has, and those kinds of things. So it's kind of diabolic. Nate, I'm going to open the floor to you. Why do we want to talk about medical racism today?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Brother Rock, as always, for the honor of being on Rock Newman Show 2.0. And welcome everybody tuning in. And we ask you all to hit the like button and share. This is a very important broadcast. We know that health isn't the most subject, even though every single black family is being slaughtered by health. It still boggles our mind. But we ask you, for those tuning in, to like and share, subscribe to the Rock Newman Show 2.0, and we thank you for your support in doing that. And so, yes, sir. Someone shared with me an article that I've known about and I've been preaching about for years, and that I've discussed many times on your show. Is that why is it that we don't trust the white person in the blue uniform that represents the police? We thoroughly understand the dangers of the criminal justice system. We thoroughly accept and understand that the criminal justice system is against our people, and we can see an inherent bias when it comes to how we are treated when it comes to crimes, prison rate, and policing, and so forth. But all of a sudden, when it comes to our health, when it comes to this butchering that we are seeing by this, what I call the European medicine industry, there's silence. We go to them with an idolatrous fervor. That's what I call it. We put our entire trust into somebody because they have a white coat. So to me, Brother Rock, we are still suffering when it comes to our health from the post traumatic slave syndrome of the white Jesus complex. Our white Jesus complex has been transferred over to the medicine industry. We hardly question them. we do whatever they tell us to do. We we subject ourselves to them in a slave-like manner. Although we see, when you look at the statistics of who are they actually healing, what healing and what disease reversal is taking place in these multi-billion-dollar hospital campuses, and the answer is none. As a matter of fact, the answer is that if you look at the data, such as this article with BT, their data, the more you trust in your doctor and in this system of drugs and surgeries, usually the sicker you will become, the more drugs you will end up on, and all you'll end up being is a lab rat for all of these different drugs. And you'll end up still dying at the same rate in a lot of pain, having spent a lot of money and a lot of time in and out of a system that, again, produces no real healing results.
You know, Nate, that's a powerful observation, a powerful statement. I'm aware from the past, as I said, what little bit that I've flirted with research on this subject. Something that came across was really natural. It made a lot of sense as to what was happening in terms of how doctors treated black patients versus white patients. And that was that, first of all, we have to acknowledge, and people, I think what I just heard Nate do was to suggest to you that you be more careful about the doctor you choose and the advice that that doctor gives. Now, why? Well, there are many, many reasons. However, we know it's an irrefutable fact that in this country, racism prevails in every facet and sector of our lives.
Yes.
So if racism prevails, there have now the piece that I do know that I'm informed about is the research and the studies that tell you that black doctors, white doctors approach black individuals as if they have a greater tolerance for pain,
Yes.
that they're suffering, they have a greater ability to suffer the consequences of whatever is happening. And just those two things right there define prejudice and bias, which can negatively impact your health, and if you're not careful, kill you. Do you remember Serena Williams when she was in childbirth? That is, I forget exactly the circumstances, but had she not been very demanding and dramatic, she would have died
Yes.
as a result of what she was told to just that was normal. She was like, no, this is not normal. Folks, I think part of what we're trying to do here is to ring an alarm bell for you and for your family, for your loved ones, for your friends, for your community, and for our entire community. Nate, in your study of this, did you come across the kind of research that spoke of how, there is a real thread between the bias of white physicians, how they treat blacks and how they treat white, the difference in how they treat blacks and whites?
Yes, sir. Medical Apartheid. That's an excellent book by Sister Harriet Washington that everyone should read. It's an excellent book. I'm going to try to pull it up here. But
What's it called? Medical Apartheid?
Yes, sir. I'm going to pull it up here on the screen for everyone to see the documented history of racism against our people, starting I mean, this has been an issue going back since we came into this country, where doctors have experimented. Harry Day Washington, where doctors, white doctors, have experimented, especially on black women, believing wouldn't even give them every single founder of the medicine industrial complex. All of them were racist, wicked white men that hated black people, and they took our people in slavery, and they did brutal human experimentation on them, gave them no pain medications at all because they believed we were just animals. So your founder of gynecology, your founders of oncology, the leading heads of the European medicine industrial complex that they worship and hold in high esteem. They're leading medical doctors, they're leading psychiatrists, they're leading everything. Racist, wicked white men. And so, again, this is because of our food addiction, because we don't know how to take care of ourselves. We are playing a dangerous game of Russian roulette, where we approach all areas of quote unquote white supremacy with extreme caution. But all of a sudden, when it comes to our precious health, we move forward with reckless abandon. And I'm one of the voices saying that that should not be. Just as much as you are careful about when you're driving your car because you don't want to get pulled over too quickly, just as you are careful about what stores you're going into and you're high alert that they might follow you around because you're black, just as much caution and as much vigilance and awareness that we have about other aspects of racism, we had better start having that same vigilance and third eye open when it comes to medical racism. And the reason why it is a struggle for us as a people to get to that awareness is because we are sick, because we don't know how to feed ourselves and take care of ourselves. And when you get sick, Brother Rock, fear clouds your judgment. And that's why I will continue to maintain for the rest of my life that the satanic American diet, which sickens you and turns you over to medical racism, is the greatest, by far, weapon of mass destruction that black people have ever faced.
You know, I used the word diabolical earlier, and I said I didn't want to, overuse that word. But Nate, your commentary just there took me to the name Henrietta Lacks. Henrietta Lacks, when I want to try to stay composed when I talk about this. I don't want to call anybody biological or even Maryland farmers, but it so angers and outrages me that this woman, I just want to read something quickly.
Yes.
Lax was the unwitting source of cells from a tumor biopsied during treatment at cervical cancer at where? Oh, the most prestigious medical institution, Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore in 1951. Her cells were then cultured by George Otto Gay, Gey, who created the cell line known as HeLa, which is still used for medical research. Now, when they say unwitting source, they say unwitting source as opposed to say the goddamn medical experiment that they did with her, where they took her cells, as then was the practice, no consent was required to the culture cells obtained from lax treatment. Neither she nor her family were compensated for the extraction or use of the HeLa cells, which have contributed to the medical industry making and the pharmaceutical industry making billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Mm.
Folks, let me go on. Even though some information about the origin of HeLa's immortalized cell lines were known to researchers after 1970, the Lax family was not made aware of the line's existence until 1975. With knowledge of the cell line's genetic provenance becoming public, it's useful for medical research and for commercial purposes continues to raise concerns about privacy and patients' rights. Look, when you go to these doctors, question them. I'm gonna say to this, black folks, and part of why I'm passionate about this is because Nathaniel Jordan spends his life. He spends the majority of his life researching ways to get the black community healthier.
Yes.
And right now, we're talking about medical issues, that medical racism that contributes to ultimately to our death, to our lack of better health, and to our death. And look, there was a movie made about Henrietta Lacks and what happened. Some of you guys may be aware, you may not be aware. I would encourage you to look it up, and you will be as outraged, I think, as I am when you understand the callous behavior.
Yeah.
You know, I spent a lot of time in the boxing world, and Don King would use the word trickeration. How the black population has been tricked time and time and time and time again by the medical industry, by the research industry, by Big Pharma. Do we need to talk about the Tuskegee Institute? Yeah. Oh, yeah, diabolical is the right word.
And they still doing it today.
Injecting syphilis, gonorrhea, sexually transmitted type diseases into these men, tracking them and never telling them.
Mm.
If you think, for example, that today in this climate, with the pervasive racism, with blacks being shot down, and oftentimes the perpetrators getting off, if you think that racism is not alive and extraordinarily effective for the oppressor today, yes, you need to think again, and you need to listen to what this brother is telling you about how to better ensure your health. Nate?
Yes, everything that's all true, and as you just stated, it all that system of oppression has transferred over to medical racism, and Tuskegee is still going on now. And I have an event in St. Louis on May the 6th, and I actually titled it Tuskegee 2023, the modern day experimentation of black people the world over. They're over there in orphanages, housing poor children, especially poor black children, in these prisons from which we are disproportionately in. And then over in the motherland and in India, poor melanated children are being experimented upon right now by dangerous, outdated drugs and needles. I'll just use that term. And they are being experimented upon right now. Tuskegee never ended. Okay, drugs that they don't approve here for us, they say, no worry, we'll give them to the poor blacks over there in Africa and in India. And May the 6th, I'm going to have a detailed lecture on that. And so I'm excited about delivering that information. And it all starts with our health. We're addicted. We're still addicted to these people food. So like I said, your biggest commitment to the empowerment of our people is what you eat. What are you putting in your mouth? Because if you are eating things that's making you sick, that's the murdered, diseased, brutalized animal flesh that has no nourishing value. And then it's what I call the foods of sorcery with all of these different addictive chemicals. When you eat these foods that come from our oppressor, you are indulging in your own genocide. And what's going to happen is you're going to get sick and fear is going to take over, and you're going to put your hands in a system that has killed more black people than the police and the KKK combined. The criminal justice system and the Ku Klux Klan, you can combine all of their deaths and brutalization against black people, and I promise you, it won't even come close to the sheer number of black people being slaughtered each and every day, either by this evil food system, this fake food system, and then two, through medical racism, medical malpractice. As a matter of fact, Brother Rock, they've already done the studies where they have actually revealed that the leading cause of death for all Americans is actually doctors. It's actually doctors, whether they're misdiagnosing you, overdiagnosing you, underdiagnosing you, giving you dangerous drugs that don't work, deaths from surgeries, toxic treatments and surgeries that don't heal at all. They are actually the leading cause of death in this nation and the leading cause of bankruptcy. Most people's financial are tied to going in and out of these hospitals. Where they offer no healing, and I'm honored, if I may say, Brother Rock, I am honored that at the same time, it's sad, but I'm honored that, even somebody of your prestige, that, like you said, with the diabetes, all high level doctors take these drugs, but then you call me because you know that I have knowledge that can heal you. And it's an honor for me personally, but at the same time, it's kind of sad that somebody who's gone to school for 15 years doesn't even have the knowledge to treat one of the easiest curable diseases as diabetes, to where somebody would have to come to a preacher to get solutions on how to heal from a disease that ain't coming from nothing but too much fat in yourself. You telling me you went to school for 20 years and you don't know how to teach somebody to clear fat out of their cells? I mean, when we have documented healing benefits of just fasting and people reversing type 2 diabetes just from fasting. Unbelievable.
Folks, I know you see the crawl going across the screen, with this subject matter, you might not be paying any attention to that. But I want to do something, so that I'm old school. Nate has his website down there and the Cash App and all of that. Look, if you want to talk to this man, you want to make an appointment with him to get some caring feedback, some well-researched feedback. I'm gonna go to old school route for the old school heads out there. The rest of y'all can do all of the website and all of that. But 888-847-8026. And I'm gonna say that slowly because look, if only one of you call and get the benefit of what I have found to be this brother's incredible approach to health and wellness, hey, our job is done. But hopefully, many more of you will call and try to get an understanding, a better understanding of where you are on your health journey. The number is 888-847-8026. The minister of wellness.com. The minister of wellness.com. I encourage that you reach out for this brother and allow some time where he can walk you through. You can share what your issues are, and he can walk you through what now has been a long period of research, a long period of study, a long period of working with doctors of all stripes,
Yes.
understanding, gaining a deep understanding of health, of medicine, of what causes our problems, and how to rectify, how to fix them, how to get yourself back to a life of vibrancy and productivity. Um, Nate, let me did you come across any particular statistics? It's something that just blows my mind. I mentioned it earlier in the show about black women's birth versus non-black childbirth.
Yes, when we're is mainly connected is startling. Their research has shown that black women birth rate under the care of white doctors is very poor. There's a 2 to 3 times higher death rate in black women when they're under white doctors. That goes away when they're under black doctors because there's just more sympathy. Remember, a lot of times in these hospitals, we're dealing with doctors who are overworked. We're dealing with doctors who are struggling with food and drug addiction of their own. And when they're working in these inner city hospitals, and you're coming in there and they're not treating especially impoverished black women that are pregnant the same treatment that a white woman in a more affluent area and hospital would get. Again, it is very sad how enslaved we are to this system, Brother Rock, when we understand the school to prison pipeline. We understand, or you should understand, that sending a black child to a school dominated by white teachers is not good for the development of that black child. So we understand that, but all of, again, where is the disconnect to where we leave the precious life of our unborn into the hands of the same people that we wouldn't trust to teach us and that we wouldn't that do and we don't trust to police us. We are focusing on the mosquito that's biting us, and we are being ran over by a stampede of elephants. Um, I do want to comment on this. The sister said a lot of patients do not make changes in their diet, therefore they need medication. And then she said patients are told for years they are pre-diabetic and make no changes. Thus is when medications come in, patients will ask for medication. Sister, I thank you for your comment, but I respectfully disagree. What I'm telling you is that doctors don't know anything about healing the body with nutrition, and they don't give sound advice because they don't know sound advice. So we shouldn't be going to them at all. What we should be doing is supporting black holistic practitioners who have the credentials. They're medical doctors, but they also understand what they'll call integrative medicine. That's where we need to start moving towards. But no, that's not true. Patients aren't being, they're not, if the way we worship doctor, let me tell you something. Our white Jesus complex has transferred over to the white doctor. I'm just gonna say it right up front. Yeah, we might not do white Jesus no more. We do that white doctor. And so if that doctor told every pre-diabetic and diabetic client that they saw, if they push nutrition as hard as I did, I guarantee you the diabetes rate will plummet overnight. If the doctor was making a stand and saying, listen to me, I can give you this medication that's going to fry your kidneys and fry your liver, not cure anything, or you can simply just eat fruit for 10 days and heal your diabetes. Which one do you want to do? You want to suffer with something that's not going to help you, or do you want me to prescribe you this fruit based or this fast or whatever? What's your choice? If every doctor took that position, that's the problem. They would be out of business because it would be no more diabetes. So, no, there is no informed consent coming from them.
Yeah. You know what? One, as you said, I know you do, and I do. I appreciate the willingness to make that comment, and I take at face value that that comment was made with good intentions. She basically said, well, people don't change their diet, so then they need medicine. No, the answer is they need to change their diet.
Yeah.
Which is much more effective, less less costly. Those two things, if you realize those two things, of course, and I say we with a capital W, because I am a part of that. We are addicted to foods that we should not consume and certainly overconsume. The answer is to what you're saying, lady, again, friend of the show, is they need more medicine because they don't change the diet. No. They need to change the diet.
Yeah.
They need to change the diet. The value of that. And look, if we could start, it's a struggle.
Yes.
We know it's a struggle.
Yes.
Nate, look, on that subject, if I could have you to go back, I think we've covered this on a previous show. But if you can talk about the addiction,
yes,
and that part of, let me use self-reference again. Part of why I felt like at 10:30 at night, I had to go get a McDonald's fish sandwich with that it's tasty, at least it's tasty to me. No cheese, I hate cheese, but my order is extra tartar sauce on the top bun and the bottom bun. And I felt I felt a compulsion,
yes,
to go do that. And I'm like, I had a decent dinner. I had a decent dinner 4 hours ago. Why am and that urge overcame all of my good senses.
yeah.
It overcame all of my good senses. Why?
Food addiction, foods of sorcery, the pleasure trap. They put drugs. High level scientists, Brother Rock, are paid $1 million a year salaries by McDookies to put chemicals in the food, drugs in the food, to make sure when you bit into that sandwich, Brother Rock, what you were doing is literally no different than a heroin addict grabbing his dope, rushing and shooting up the needle. That same frantic that you said that you're feeling, that's crack. And they put that in the food. It's no difference. It's biologically no different.
And I've had much experience dealing with individuals who I'm close to, who I loved, whether it was personally or professionally, that had bona fide addictions to alcohol, to drugs. So I know part of what they go through is when they take that drug, they tell themselves prior, this is the last time I'm gonna get this last hit.
Yeah.
And then the next day, and the next day, and the next day, they keep on doing it. And I'm going to use self-reference again, beloved. There has not been one time when I have succumbed, I have been overcome by that phenomenal pull for me. And I want you to talk about tapeworms or
parasites.
Parasites, Nate. But there's not been one time when that has happened to me and I succumbed to it and ran out and got it with some French fries. The French fries comes with it. And a Coke. I prefer a root beer, but and a Coke. There's not been one time when it's done that I said, oh, I'm really glad I did that. I have called myself every stupid idiot that you could imagine for allowing myself what I just did. I tell myself, God damn it, what I just did was insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know those who are listening, many of you go through the same thing. So this is not judgment. This is an effort for me to try to communicate with you, meet you where you are, because I have been where you are, I'm where you are, and I want you to know that, we're doing this to try to make you understand what is happening to you when you have those horrific
Yeah.
urges and why it happens. When you talking about the parasite, Nate.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the parasitic infection, the eighth component of food addiction, these junk foods, when you consume those type of poisons, it builds a type of demonic infestation called parasites. You can also call them tapeworms. And these are living beings that reside inside of our gut, in our colon. And they control the brain like aliens. So it's the same like these alien movies where it takes over your brain and they fuel vicious cravings that are uncontrollable. What I'm saying is that you cannot use willpower to overcome parasitic infection. You have to use certain herbs that will kill not only the parasites but stop them from hatching eggs. I know this because I've gone through this process myself. Again, I'm speaking from experience. Wormwood oil, black walnut oil, and and clove oil, one of the most powerful ones. Clove oil, wormwood oil, black walnut oil, and fortunately, I have found a company that I trust that I've used that I've used with great results, and this is Zuma Nutrition. We are affiliated with Zuma Nutrition. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. And if you click on the link, and they have a they have a full detox package that I have taken a few times. If you use this link, then you can purchase and it will give the ministry some support for your purchase. So that parasitic infection is vicious, and it is so you have is a life form living inside of your gut, sabotaging your brain, and that's why you can be 300 pounds about to get your leg amputated from diabetes, and you still find yourself at Chick-fil-A smashing a few fried chicken sandwiches. And it's something that you can't defeat unless you go through the proper protocol, unless you humble yourself and treat this as a literal drug addiction. You will lose. If there's any inkling of pride in you to where you think that you can defeat the greatest form of genocide that Black people have ever faced, you're not going to make it. You have to recognize that this is the same steps that a heroin addict, a meth addict, a fentanyl addict, a opioid addict has to go through to defeat their addiction. An alcoholic, I have to have a system in place, a protocol in place, a support system in place to overcome this drug food addiction.
From the 12-step program, they talk about you got to have a plan that works and you got to work that plan. I think what you're communicating here in quite another way is just that. So when you talk about these herbs that will help eliminate those parasites, I'm assuming also that while that is happening, you want there to be a focus on the critical importance of changing the diet also.
Absolutely. Your best results is going to come to the understanding of what are we designed to eat as humans? What are we designed to eat? Okay? We're so detached from nature that we don't have common sense anymore. A giraffe does not make a salad out of the leaves on the tree. It does not do that. The rhino does not look up and ask God, I need salad dressing to eat this grass. A lion doesn't have barbecue sauce for his raw flesh. Every species eats it as is. The acorn, the squirrel doesn't have to sprinkle the acorn with some salt and put it in the oven so it can taste better. So, what is it that we don't have to use a fork or a knife? We don't have to put salt on it. We don't have to put pepper on it. We don't have to do anything to it except maybe peel it or crack it. And it's already sweet. It's already soft. It's already ready for us to consume. Fruit. The fruit, grapes, citrus fruits, berries, melons, apples, pears. Those are the foods that quickly heal the body. It's extraordinarily quick, so quick that at our March 18th seminar, we had a brother from New York City that drove to the seminar
In
just to
DC.
wait in line.
In DC.
Right, yes, sir, in DC, in Washington, DC, Union Temple. And he waited in line just to tell me that in 2 weeks of going on what I call a red fruit hillet to heal the kidneys, he was able to come off of dialysis within 2 weeks. So yes, you must eat to live, and we have to return to eating the foods that we're supposed to be consuming, and that is a fruit-based eating style. My new saying is eat your fruits, juice your vegetables, and take your herbs. And you can go to, for those, of course, subscribe to Rock Newman Show 2.0, but you want to go over to the Minister of Wellness YouTube channel and subscribe there, because I have a 12-part free seminar series where I go into great details on why healing occurs much quicker on the fruits. And there are many people here, Brother Rock, who have some extraordinary testimonials already from being on fruits for 7 days and healing.
Yeah, I want to mention something because again, I'm sure that there are those out there who ask the question. Rock Newman Show 2.0, you're focusing and spending a lot of time with Nathaniel Jordan on the issue of health. Let me tell you, Nate just mentioned testimonies. So I was at the Washington, D.C. event at Union Temple Baptist Church, and to my absolute shock, I met a young man who flew in on his own dime from California to Washington, D.C. He read and heard about the event that Nate was doing his presentation at, a free community health event. He flew across country to meet Nate face to face. Now, this is one of many testimonies. I just want to give this one before we wrap up here. He flew across country to meet Nathaniel Jordan, to let Nate see him in person. Yes. Because somewhere, and you have to, verify what the time was, 8 months, 10 months, a year ago, whatever it was, he was weighing, I forget, it was 80 or 100 pounds more than he weighed when he came March the 18th at Union Temple Baptist Church. He did not want to be exposed. He didn't want any notoriety. He didn't want any publicity. He just wanted to thank this man. Now, how he turned his life around and lost, if not 100, it was nearly. I forget what the exact amount was.
Yes, it was about there.
It was something phenomenal. Yes. When I saw that, and again, knowing Nate as I do, I see stuff that people write all the time that are such positive testimonies. But that one just stood out to me. The young man, he didn't even hang around. He bought a round trip ticket. He went back either that evening or the next day.
Yes.
We didn't see him anymore.
Yeah.
He just wanted to come and to thank Nathaniel for saving his life.
Yes.
Increasing his health and saving his life. I'm going to give the number one more time. And as Nate said, I certainly appreciate you guys liking and sharing what we do. 888-847-8026, 888-847-8026. You can get directly through to Nate or those that answer the phone and actually have personal interaction. It's there for your asking. Um, you know, to this is a ministry that Nate has.
Yes.
And the ministry needs your support. So if you find it in your heart and find in your ability to be able to contribute anything to this ministry, then I encourage that also. So, Nate, do you have any wrap up parting words to this
No, my
medical
wrap up
racist
parting
mission?
words, family, is that again, this is something we can't ignore. Please like and share this video. This truth is going to get out. It's going to get out. And I thank Brother Rock for his support and understanding that this is something we can't ignore anymore. So whether you like it or not, you are going to hear the truth because the warning has to come before destruction. So I pray that everyone heeds the truth. And I do want to let you all know the good news. We do have all 100 of our products in stock. So as Brother Rock has mentioned, the ministerofwellness.com, the ministerofwellness.com, as you can see on the photo, this is just a few of the many life-saving books and herbal extracts that we have. And you can call 888-847-8026. No excuses about not being able to afford health coaching. I do coaching for as little as $25. My schedule fills up quickly, though. So again, just call the number. We are open, but all of our products are in stock, ready to ship. So go and get what you need. And we thank you all for your love and support. And is it too early about the surprise possibly coming up in September?
Let's hold up. Let's
Okay.
hold up. Let's
Okay.
hold up.
Okay.
That's a nice tease, but let's hold up.
Okay. We'll say that surprise for later.
Folks, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you get something inspiring and positive and health producing from this broadcast today. I'm Rock Newman. Go in peace. Namaste.
Namaste.